Welcome back to Reactioncast, where you can listen to us on Anchor, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, or any other podcasting platform, or now on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe so you can keep in check with all your TV, anime, and movie thoughts and reactions.
All right,
the
you
last
guys.
time we're ever gonna start an episode of Game of Thrones.
So what is
Nice.
everyone thinking? Ready? What is your expectations for the final episode of Game of Thrones?
We're gonna get dicked so hard.
Okay.
Everybody's gonna die, and there's gonna be a sad, sad ending.
I'm expecting to be underwhelmed and disappointed.
Okay. So I'm the only one who's not a big Game of Thrones fan.
But you've also already seen how it ends.
I've seen all the spoilers before we watch it, so
I
I'm
hate you so
ecstatic. These guys might actually. There's some fun stuff. So okay.
I'm
Hey man, if Tormund's in
excited
this
and
episode at
hopeful.
all,
but realistic.
if Tormund is in this episode at all, I am going to forever love my Got Milk shirt.
I don't know who that is off the top of my head.
Look at this fucking
Does
picture.
he not look exactly like this?
Look at this
Hold on,
beautiful
hold on,
bitch.
hold on.
All right. So we're gonna get started.
There.
All right, then. So after listening to this, we're gonna start watching the episode. So get ready, and then you'll hear our either happiness, sadness, or anger in a few seconds. But for us, we have about an hour and a half to go. So we'll see you in a few seconds. So we just finished, like a moment ago, like I said, we just finished watching the last episode of Game of Thrones. We forgot to introduce ourselves. As always, I am your host, Jesus, aka Tyrant Dominus. Joining me here is Chris,
Hi.
Elizabeth,
Elizabeth. There's too many Elizabeths, but I got nothing
Elizabeth.
else.
and Andrew.
I am the reincarnation of Tormund.
So like I didn't state it earlier in the pre-show, before we were doing our little predictions, right?
Yeah.
So I, as the host, have not watched Game of Thrones in its entirety. I have seen episode snippets. I've seen all of season 1 and 2, but then I dropped off. But I've seen snippets, and the only episode I have seen of season 8 is this last episode. So it's really funny. So
I feel like you have a pretty good grip on it too, because like I've watched all the shows, read all the books. He's read part of a book and watched the show, and then I don't think Chris has read any of the books.
I haven't read the books.
I actually read that whole book when we were flying.
Okay,
somehow.
yeah, exactly. Like
so we have two people who read the books and have followed it. Chris, you have watched the entire show.
Yeah.
So we have the three people with me right now have a strong understanding of not only some of the book lore, but the show has followed the show in intensity. So I'm gonna point one by one, and I'm gonna ask you what you're feeling after finishing watching the final episode. Go.
underwhelmed, I
Okay.
guess would be the one statement I have to make about it. I guess I'm not that surprised as who ends up on the throne. Which it's kind of out of nowhere, but I thought that him being on the throne was an option, but I didn't think it was a realistic option at all.
Okay.
I had a lot of other ideas for it, and this is not exactly what I saw.
Alrighty.
I got to see Tormund, so I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I mean, in all honesty, the last episode and this episode kind of felt rushed, but
The worst part is how perfectly the foreshadowing works into how they ended the episode. And it almost makes me upset how predictable, if you look back at episode 1 to compare to the last episode, how predictable it is.
Okay.
I'm actually satisfied with it. I thought it was gonna be a little bit like fuck you, George R. R. Martin, but I'm glad that Bran was king.
Okay.
Spoilers.
Well, that's fine. If anyone listening,
Yeah.
we're going to be talking about it the entire episode, so yeah.
I'm not super upset about him being king, because like I feel like it's a good way to take it, because most people wouldn't see it going that way. And it's really good foreshadowing. You hear like the first episode where, you know, like Jamie pushes him out the window and it's just like, oh, the things I do for love. And like that guy he pushes out the fucking window, like that's who ends up on the throne at the end of the series. Like, I get that. That's pretty cool, but
The chair was melted. He
Bran-
brought his own.
Bran
That's
did
true.
nothing. Like, where was Bran? Like,
Yeah,
he was
okay.
just, he was there, but like, what the
Okay,
fuck was he doing?
so here, okay, so for me as an outsider,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Please, yeah.
Okay, so for me as an outsider, and so the only way I've known about season 8 is like seeing people's reactions on like watching small like 5-minute YouTube videos of people
I feel like
complaining
that would
about it.
almost be really
Sticks to
good.
that.
I
So
have never watched The Walking Dead, and I almost want to do that. Like, I've never seen any of it.
So-
After season 6, it's just.
it's apparently get better. Anyways, so as an outsider and watching this, so as far as season 8 is concerned, as far as I know about Bran, he's been pretty useless. And
Yeah.
and everyone said so. Seeing that ending, like, why is he king anyone? I'm not.
Because he's useless.
I'm sitting there. I
Bran's
know
so
that.
broke.
Exactly. That's
So,
why.
okay, so-
Nobody fighting me is crippled.
Would you fight a cripple guy?
Yes.
No, that's in
That
bad
doesn't-
taste.
So
Okay.
I'd treat
okay, so-
everyone
so-
equally. I'd beat a bitch up if he was crippled.
Okay, so here's the thing. Andrew is my brawn. I hire Andrew. He kills the cripple, and then I'm like, I'm queen, bitch. Like.
So yeah.
It's in
So
bad
As long as I
taste.
get a castle, I mean,
so okay. So let.
Did Bronn get his castle?
it only took fucking 6 seasons.
All right. So
But he got it.
so just okay. So I'll play mediator for some of the scenes. So we'll
All
for
you
now.
have to say is Bronn castle, and then us just in the background. Blah, blah, blah.
Pretty much.
So we'll talk about individual scenes. So for now, since we're talking about Bran becoming the king of the 6 kingdoms, not the 7.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good
So let's talk about that. So that scene of him, the whole like everyone there, and who is the guy? Who does?
Tyrion.
Yeah, him. I don't know names.
Just
So
say
you guys are gonna have to.
Just say the imp.
Yeah.
The imp.
Or you can say Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, that I was trying to remember his name. But anyways, okay. So that scene, that was a really wonderful scene. Like because for me, like I said, I don't know much.
Cinematically, it was
Cinematically,
very
like
good.
for me,
realistically,
me
how did
watching the
that wheelchair
film-
get up there, and how the fuck is he getting down? Like,
They probably carried him. You know, just.
So for me, I was viewing it like how wonderfully it felt. This episode was done really. It was really well filmed.
cinematically, it was like it was very
was a really good show.
good.
And then I was also I was also kind of viewing it also the acting since I haven't seen it so like a lot lately. I was just viewing it from this episode and it was
Yeah.
really done well because even I felt some of the emotions from it. Well,
I cried
I'm gonna
at least
I
once.
I like felt it from her crossing over.
Right.
But so that scene for the scene where you guys got a name
The
Which one?
Tyrion.
Tyrion where Tyrion is about to get executed.
Oh yeah,
and-
I was definitely crying.
So okay, so during that scene where
The
he's about to get
depict.
executed and they're trying to find who's going to be the next king/queen of for now the 7 kingdoms.
And every contender is literally sitting right there.
Yeah, so
like,
it's everyone right there, right? And the speech he gives, it's a really wonderful speech.
It was
that-
good.
like where was that writing? But
It was in seasons 1 through 5.
so I want to get you guys individual thoughts on just not only that scene, but then kind of how it all worked around with some of the other individuals talking. We'll go with Chris first.
I don't know, dude. It's just like you said. The speech was so good, dude. I was like, I'm feeling it, dude. I kind of figured he was gonna go towards like kind of suggesting democracy when he started saying like
Who was that? Anyone names?
Tyrion.
Tyrion. Yeah.
No, not the. Like, he didn't say democracy.
No.
Who was that guy who?
Sam was the one
Sam.
who
Sam,
instigated
Sam
everyone have a
Sam
vote.
Tarly.
Yeah.
That would have been funny if like, yeah, let's do democracy. But
But no, they got.
you know what's funny?
Shot
What's
down
funny is
We
I.
elected George Washington, and now we hate abortion.
What's funny is I knew. So it's like, okay, for anyone
Someone's
listening.
gonna listen from Alabama, be like,
So what's funny is.
unsubscribe.
So what's funny is since I read the spoilers ahead of time, I knew everything. I knew what was gonna happen.
Stop.
So I knew Bran was gonna be the king, and I knew
Useless piece of shit.
and I knew that who's the queen of the north? Name
Sansa
Sansa.
Sansa. So
Dude, I'm
I knew
gonna get a dog and
I
name
knew
her-
she was gonna be
I'm not
she was
say
gonna
it.
do that
Well,
because I was
podcast
wondering like
steal it.
because for the most part I always
Same
knew
show.
the whole like king of the 7 kingdoms. I always knew that. So when I read like King of the Six Kingdoms. I was like, wait, did someone did a typo or something? I was confused when I was reading it. Like, maybe somewhere. But then they named, Sansa, Queen of the North. Like, and I was just reading, like, are they like doing? Because I honestly thought they were gonna do democracy when Sam, because I thought it was gonna be those three. It was gonna be Arya, Sansa, and Bran. I thought it was gonna be those three, kind of like being the one, people doing it, and like, okay, that makes sense, and why whoever
incest jokes.
Oh!
So I thought that was what
Those
they were
aren't funny anymore. Game of Thrones is over.
So
Get all around famous jokes out right now. Like,
so, Andrew, what do you think of that scene?
With
The whole Tyrion
with that scene, as far as it goes, it's like with Tyrion, like, he's on death's row pretty much at that point.
Yeah.
And he just, like, straight up, he's got that, like, whole moment of his own, like, hey, I did this because I could kind of moment. But he turned that around to be like, you can't kill me. There's no one who says that you can. Who's giving that order?
but
Point a finger to who says who.
The thing is, she could have killed him, but he knew that she wasn't even, regardless of the fact that she just burned all of those people alive in King's Landing. She wasn't about to just burn her, like, Hand of the King, like, advisor. Like, she wasn't going to burn him alive in front of everybody. And that's, like, the fucked up thing, is she's, like, trying to put on this front like she's a good queen after, like, burning the entire population of King's Landing. She's like, oh, but I won't burn my friend. Like,
I'll burn women and children. I won't burn my
All right.
Right? Like, what?
in public, at least.
All right, let's take a couple steps back then. A little step
Sorry.
back. We'll take a couple steps back then to what got us to that point. Is what's funny. Okay, so what's funny is we were talking earlier before we went. Because we all hung out earlier today, and I was joking a little bit about. I was asking you guys, like, how is it gonna end, right? And I joked about it's gonna be a Romeo and Juliet scene.
Yeah.
So it's something like you a little bit didn't even think about, and I honestly was joking.
I hadn't even considered that option.
And it almost happened here. So the scene we're talking about is when John and
Stabs Dany.
Dany, yeah, and we have that scene right there. Also, there's a fun scene though when Dany's like talking to her men, and you see the dragon, and you can see dragon wings on her. That was an awesome scene.
That's
That's
It's
good
like
as fuck.
symbolism of her being the tyrant at that moment.
Also, it makes a good screensaver.
She is the dragon, and then the fact that Drogon runs away, and like Jon is like the last Targaryen, and then like Drogon's the last dragon, like they're alive, but where?
So
Spin-offs, here we come.
Spin up.
So, what was going through your heads when John and Dany were talking at that point? Because I had already an idea what was happening.
I was saying, fuck you, Jesus. You ruined it for me. I'm not even joking. Now, at one point, I was like, fucking Jesus, you asshole.
Oh, his Romeo and Juliet comment?
Yeah. And then,
Okay, so what they're talking about is I jokingly said, oh, here comes the Romeo and Juliet moment. The funny thing is, I didn't actually know anything about this specific scene. So when
Yes.
when John kills her, and like, oh, it is a murder scene, it's like, fuck, did I mess everything up? Did I accidentally
Did
predict
I
something?
actually spoil it for everybody? Wow.
Because at that point, what I don't know if you guys would agree, it would have been a murder-suicide. Would have been John kills
It would have
Dany.
been, honestly, like, that would have been a pretty good, that would have been a
Because
solid
then,
ending.
what was the name of the dragon?
Drogon.
Yeah, then he would have killed John, murder-suicide, because John would have known, dragon's gonna kill me. Like
How
John.
many times can we say murder?
That would have been a murder-suicide. a different iteration of it, but it would have been.
Yeah.
Now, what would you have felt that would have fit, or are you happy with what happened to John later?
I honestly think that if Drogon had actually tried to burn him, technically he is
He
Targaryen.
wouldn't have burned.
Because
He
he
wouldn't
is
have burned.
part Targaryen, he wouldn't have burned.
They never
But
addressed
he's
it on the
not.
show, but
He's not full Targaryen, so there's a possibility that he would have burned, like, say, like the Hound's scarring did happen. With the whole facial fucking burning and everything. Like, maybe he would have had that superficial scarring.
Ooh, that would have been interesting.
But he still wouldn't have died from it.
Okay.
yeah, he, like, they never addressed that on the show, but, like, if he's Targaryen, like, throw back to, season 1, episode, like, what, 2 or 3, when Dany talks about like, or no, I guess it was like episode 6.
You've got like one episode of Dany getting straight up walking into a boiling water.
But there's
the
an episode where her brother
straight...
is bitching about getting his crown, and so like Khal Drogo is just like, I'll give you your crown, all like badass Jason Momoa status, like melts his like belt and then pours like molten gold over her brother's head, and like he dies obviously because it's like molten gold, and she's just like, a dragon wouldn't have burned, just like all like no emotion. She's just like, motherfucker, like you wouldn't have died if
but
you
it's
were
like,
Targaryen. Like
there's
so
the scene
even
where...
if the ice fire had hit Jon, would he have died? Because like he's a Targaryen. Like
But what's that say
is
about
ice
the
fire
Night King?
different than regular fire?
What's that say about the Night King, man?
Oh, that is true.
Well, he walked out of fucking flames, so he's a Targaryen too. Like,
All right.
the end.
All right. So there's another crucial scene right there, since we know that Jon didn't get burnt, but we do get to see the Iron Throne melted away.
That's true.
That
Pointy thing killed my mom. Kill the pointy chair.
that would have been
That's
somebody.
pretty much it, dude.
If that's
It
how-
was
that sums it
created
up.
by Dragonfire and it died by Dragonfire.
Wow,
And I guess,
wow.
like, how symbolic, like,
Okay,
at the end
what
of
a
the
cycle that was.
at the Game of
Jeez.
Thrones, like, you win or you lose, or you just, like, call it a fucking quit and you
There's
melt
no
the
in
throne, and
between.
you're like, no one wins and no one loses. Like,
Well, I mean,
democracy.
Dany lost.
Oh yeah, she did.
I remember when Rock was young.
Okay.
Fuck,
So-
dude.
What's interesting is like there's a lot of scenes, but there's not really too many scenes to talk about specifically. So the next.
Honestly, I feel like Dany died very early in the episode, which
I thought she was
had
gonna
to
die
happen.
like the last few minutes.
And I was
of it.
expecting it, but like when she died, I like wasn't expecting
Well, that
it
was
to be
like
so
halfway
early.
in. You realize
No, that was like 20 minutes in.
It
Okay,
felt
here-
like 20 minutes.
so here's
but
another
probably
thing-
But it was like halfway into the show.
No,
Okay.
it was an hour and 25 minutes.
So
It
here's
says right there.
so here's another funny thing that I noticed, and you guys were briefly mentioning. There's a lot of time skips, and
Yeah.
I was like, we were joking, like, is it winter? It's the summer?
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
an Ash.
Oregon.
It's Ash.
People.
They did say something about that. So it's like, apparently, I'm gonna guess that the whole storm that they were in when they were fighting the Night King, because it was technically snowing up there at that
Yeah,
time,
that's why you couldn't see shit.
and
Supposedly.
so
It's
this
called they
might
used the budget on this
it's-
episode.
it was starting to snow on them.
So we'll say
But-
early winter.
But the thing about it is, with episode fucking 7, there was no snow anywhere.
Are you talking about the Battle of Winterfell? Because that was 6.
No, I'm talking about when they showed up to King's
Oh
Landing.
yeah, like
There's
when
no
Cersei
snow.
and Jaime like
No, yeah,
got
because-
tricked. Yeah, there's no snow.
When Jaime's leaving
yeah.
in the very end of season 7, it's like, you see him leaving and it's starting to snow in King's Landing.
Yeah.
So
was
everybody
like a
gets
really
down there,
big
now it's not snowing,
point
and then
of
all
it,
of a
that
sudden we have
was-
snow again. Like, what the fuck?
Right, and that was like a really huge like cinematic like moment because it was like it's starting to snow in King's Landing,
And then
so they have to go like
He
like
said-
the war in the North isn't just like the war in the North. They're like, oh, well, like if there's a zombie motherfucker, like it's already snowing. Like
Well, so they
gotta
also
be now.
noted it with them saying it's been a couple weeks, as him as being the hand makes you want to piss off the edge of the world
Yeah.
anyway.
So yeah.
So it's been a couple weeks, and that's when like John's hair's all fucking scraggly, his beard's all scraggly.
Which I get, but the thing that it pisses me off so bad is it's like literally like this last season of Game of Thrones just feels like a bad game of D&D where like the DM is moving and you just have to like finish the fucking campaign like so quickly. Like they're like, oh, we had 7 years of character development, all this shit, but we only have enough budget
I'm
for
sorry.
one more season.
I'm sorry,
Like,
guys. I'm moving. My parents can't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like
I gotta.
you had all this shit. It's like I
Hurry
don't
up,
think
dude.
Like,
we gotta wrap it up
I
right
we
gotta-
gotta
now.
wrap it up right now. Like.
I'm gonna improvise real quick. I know we had this planned out. Like,
Right?
you
Y'all
just
get a
go fun.
D20 die. Like, and if you roll less than, like, 16, you die. And you're like, oh, like, I attempt a glamour spell.
So
I roll a 2. Like,
so then let's get to the kind of basically the finale where we see kind of everyone's like we'll say final moments where let's see here where
I want to hear him try to
Hey.
name these people.
The imp.
Peter Dinklage character Anyways,
Yeah.
Ghost from original Destiny before updates.
so when he was sitting at the hand's chair, and then he was with the other, what are they called?
The Lord.
People.
Masters or something, whatever, something, coin, whatever. Everyone had their own thing. It's like
There's like totally a name for it, and I can't think of it right at this moment. But Cersei used to bitch at him for being stupid.
oh, I have a comment in a second. We'll talk about that because we'll talk about it afterwards. So everyone's at the table and everyone's talking. What do you think of that scene when Bran finally kind of like being a king, basically, being pushed around and getting his title? You know that eventually that title's gonna fit one day.
Eventually, it's gonna fix itself.
Right. I was very happy to see Tyrion as Hand, but Bran being king, like it seems like a cop out. Like not as much as a cop out as like some things, but like it's gonna be a tangent for like 2 seconds. But like, did you guys ever read the Cirque du Freak series?
No.
So there was this whole series. There were 13 books, and it was like 12 books of this epic, like I was like 12. But, like, this really good story, and then the 13th book, when he had to end it, he was like, I don't really know how to end it, so we are just going to go back in time, and it never happened to these two people that you've been reading about for 10 years. It happened to 2 other people, and I don't know how it ended. Like, the end.
Oh, damn,
Like, it's like seeing that Prince of Persia movie when they made an actual movie.
Don't talk
and you
about
go
that.
and watch it,
Oh,
and
stop.
it's like 2 hours of like ostrich races and like all this crazy shit. And you get to the end and they're like, we found the sands of time, and they like go back in time, and then the movie ends in the beginning, like 2 minutes of the movie, where he's like, I don't even fucking remember. I saw it in theaters once, and he's just like, I'm the Prince of Persia, and she was like, hello, and it was like cool. I just watched this like stupid like Jasmine and Aladdin love story for 2 hours, like you don't even know each other, but like it's cool because there's glistening sand, like.
Okay.
And
They say about
ostriches.
guys with big swords, though.
Hey, like,
So at this point, earlier we realized that the North is going to be independent, so that's why Bran's only the king of 6 kingdoms.
the North is Canada.
He's ruler of Canada now.
We see
That's why he
Sansa
doesn't
just
give a fuck.
like, I don't know. Like I said, I'm an outsider, so I don't know what her role as Queen of the North means.
Queen
So
in the
what
North.
for you guys? Did that mean anything to you guys when she kind of sat and was like, I don't know.
As far
I was
as-
unsurprised but happy.
As far as it goes with, like, her being there, she was already technically, like, she was a stand-in Queen of the North, or Queen in the North, but now she's the official title because John's been sentenced to being the
Yeah,
Night's
we're
Watch
gonna-
again.
Yeah, we'll talk
What
about
a
that in a second.
dragon eat, anyways.
So then, who's the assassin girl?
Arya.
Stark.
So
Murder
yeah,
child
so
Arya.
she decides to go venture to a new world.
She's become Christopher Columbus. I'm going
Hey,
on an
actually,
adventure.
That guy was a dick. Who was the guy that actually discovered the U.S.? Like, we celebrate Columbus Day, and it should have been like... the
It's a
other-
Viking.
Kings.
It's
Yeah,
a
it was a
Viking.
Viking.
It's
It
a
was
Viking.
like, he showed up first and like went back to England and was like, I found this country, and Columbus was like, yippee-yi-yay, Kayo, like, motherfucker, like,
So-
I guess Tarantino didn't exist back then, but he was a dick, dude. I can't remember, but this is important, because fuck Christopher Columbus.
Shit,
Fuck
it's just-
Christopher Columbus, dude.
anyway,
Dude, it was a thing. It's the
so
whole thing.
so her just venturing. That's cool with all you guys.
No
right?
duder. Viking named No Duder.
Yeah, dude,
There we go.
like,
They even gave him a shitty name. Wow. What
no,
bastards.
like,
Made landfall on the Faroe Islands. Oh no, he intended to make landfall on the Faroe Islands, which is literally what we know now as fucking Iceland.
Interesting. Okay.
Iceland. Why is
Fire.
it
Somehow ended all the way up over here.
so
Yikes, dude.
so then then we find out once Bran became king and everything, and they were trying to figure out what to do with John. They were going to kill him, but they came with a compromise. Like everyone, for the most part, not everyone was happy, but they compromised, and John ended up back at the Black Watch. I hope I'm right there.
Close. Nice.
Basically,
Whatever.
he's back at the Night's Watch.
He's
which
back
is
where he
cool.
started.
He already
I
got
guess I-
murdered once
he's-
for it. He didn't want to do it in the first place, but ended up there, then got murdered, and then tried to leave, and then is back there. That's exactly why I won't go back to my last job. Like,
I don't want to go
Good
back to
reason.
square one. So, what were your thoughts at that? Because I knew that was going to happen to him.
it's so unceremoniously, like, almost.
It's like a big fuck you. Like, aha, guess who's back where he started?
That's a
Guess
bad
who's
roll.
ba-
That's
like-
like a bad roll in a fucking board game. You have
Dude,
like,
like,
start from the fucking beginning, dude. I know you're like,
seriously,
oh, it's the
Snakes
end.
and ladders.
Exactly. And you
Oh.
fucking
Imagine,
all
like,
There's
the way
the
Jumanji,
goddamn fucking
and you,
snake
like,
at the very
dude,
end. If you land on
seriously.
it, back to the beginning, and
And
that's what John
yeah,
did.
that's what he fucking
Yeah.
rolled, dude. Oh my
You like make it so far, and you're like, you know what? At least it can't be as bad as
And
that
then-
time I like just joined the
I
Night's
wonder.
Watch.
I wonder if there
And
is a
then they were
way
like,
to
"Oh, we'll
coincide.
help you," and it's like his fucking own brother is like to the Night's Watch with you, and he is the three-eyed Raven, so he's seen everything, and he's just like, like.
I wonder
Fuck
if there's a
you.
way to coincide every episode of Game of Thrones with snakes and ladders.
You probably
That would
could.
be funny.
Be like, all right, everyone's moving forward in life, and then you got the Lannisters. Oh, look, you get the ladder to success, and then you've got Ned Stark who gets the snake
The
to
like
failure.
trap starts dropping, and you just like cut it
Oh,
out. It's a
that'd be
grit.
fun.
She's just like, we never should have left that cave.
That'd be interesting. That'd be someone
Someone
look
probably
at it.
already did that. or
Someone probably
just
did that.
fucking
If not,
thinking about
someone
Now I
should.
need to see how. Hold on, there's 73 episodes. How many squares on a fucking snake?
Okay, well you do
ladder?
that. While you do that, we kind of closed off with a really interesting scene with John, then like going out beyond the wall with
Tormund!
and
Ghost!
yes,
His dog.
and then we get this like you Elizabeth, you mentioned a wonderful like closing scene with
Yeah.
in the forest, and you mentioned it happened back in season 1 with the Night King.
They did a callback, yeah, with John walking out, like the way that his army was arranged with everyone walking out into the forest. To me, I guess I haven't watched the whole series in like, I don't know, a month. But there is the end, I think, of season 1, you just
I
see
think
the
so,
Night
yeah.
King on his horse riding off into, like the forest in the, north, basically. And I guess I'll have to go watch it again. Oh no. But
Oh, no.
it looked like that last scene with John riding off into the north looked very, very similar to me of the scene with the Night King riding off with the blue-eyed kids where we found Gilly,
Mm-hmm.
like in season, like the Craster kids in season
There's 100
2 or
squares.
3?
Mm.
Like,
Damn.
But maybe, well, think about it. Think about maybe like key moments in the show. If someone just like every key moment.
Fuck, there's a whole bunch more than 10
if you were to
fucking
boil it
100
down to
key
key
moments.
moments, though, like even if you like take into effect like the like the children of the forest or whatever creating the Night King and
God
everything,
fucking
the way they end it with that scene, like how they didn't do that on accident. Like if there's anything that the fucking directors did in Game of Thrones, they didn't make that look exactly like that original scene for no idea.
So
Like I think they're trying to be like, oh, and then what if John's the next Night King and it's
actually, okay, so
300
You know what?
years?
So,
There's
okay.
no
so
such thing as
okay, so
coincidence.
so there was a fun fake spoiler I saw, and I was like,
Oh,
I
you
read
the
it.
fucking picture you showed me?
No.
You're
So
a
there,
fucking dick.
oh, not that one. That would have been
Oh,
cool.
okay.
So there was this fun fake spoiler, and I read it like, ooh, that would have been.
Hey, sorry, I'm already allergic to bullshit.
So I read it and oh, if that's real, that's cool. And I started reading, and the episode was out already. And like, oh, that's a really shitty spoiler. No, like, what did they say? They're like, oh, fake spoiler. And I'm like, oh, that's sad. But that would have been cool. So one of the things that ended up someone posted was that where John ended up was true. But what happened was the scene was gonna close with him like lying in his bed. Bless you. He was gonna lie in his bed, fall asleep, and that was gonna, turn to black. But you would have saw was a shadow of one of the children of the forest. Yeah, right. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
That's the thing.
Totally a thing.
And you were gonna see them, like stab Jon Snow in the back, and you see his eyes turn, and he would have been the new Night King.
Okay, that would have been really good, but if they stabbed him in the heart, like how
You know
they
what I
did
mean.
the original, yeah, okay.
So yeah,
See, that's almost like, okay, honestly, if that was one of the ideas on the table, like that's honestly almost what I got from the last scene. Like, they didn't expressively, like, say it, but if they wanted to, 20 years from now, be like, Game of Thrones after the fact, like, like, that just seems so, like, what if that exact scenario is what led the Night King to, like, create the whole thing? What if he, was a guy that was just like, I don't want this throne, like, these people are stupid, like, they just killed Wan the giant, like, we're just gonna, like, fuck them up, like...
So,
just literally, like, I'm gonna watch the whole series again for I don't even know how many times this year, and it's May. But that closing scene, I swear to God, is like a cinematic parallel to a scene in season like 1 or 2 when, I don't think it's the Night King, but it's one of the White Walkers, and it's when they take the baby, but like you see that entire same scene, and it's one of the first times you see them like walking towards like the army of the dead, and you're like, oh, that's a lot of dead people. Like,
all right, so
time to rewatch it all over again.
So it's
and again.
So now that we've kind of talked about everything, how are you feeling about it?
Golden Compass.
It's over now. 8 seasons done.
Nina
10
Brown.
years in the making.
Well, it's over. The first Game of Thrones book came out in like it was like 98.
we forgot to mention when they literally throw the book at Tyrion, the Book of Ice and Fire.
Oh yeah, when they were like,
So let's close with that. So what do you think of when they tossed him that and they said that?
I was laughing so hard. As a book reader, they like Sam was just like, I'm gonna call it a Song of Ice and Fire. I was just like, oh man, like, oh my god, like. I love it, and it's good, but I feel like season, I don't know what was it, 3 or 4? I guess, like, if it's a podcast, I'll just say it. Whenever they killed fucking Sir Barristan was when I gave up on the show compared to the books.
I think
because
it was 3.
3 with the Sons of the Harpy. Like, in the books, Sir Barristan is alive and well. And I love him. And he's fine. Like, and I love the actor, too. Like, he did an interview at one point in time where he was like, oh, yeah, I read the books. And I figured I was, like, good to go for the whole series because I read up to, like, the last book and I'm still fine. He was like, and then we got the script and I died. She was like, what the fuck? Like...
What a way to fucking get your prediction.
So it's hard for me to compare the two because it's, they're just, like, different things to me at this point. Like, they have the same names, but... I don't know. I can't even say it's like the Harry Potter books and the Harry Potter movies, because the movies did a decent job, they just, like, missed some shit. As my dog, Remus Lupin, named after Harry Potter, is, like, fucking squeaking some dumbass shit. Bro.
So, we're done. It's over, guys.
Well, it's over. Like,
that's it.
Nina Brown.
No.
I kinda...
Was it?
I just want to watch this again.
Alright then. So, everyone...
Sons of the Harpy was season 5?
Was it really?
Season 5?
Oh, was it?
Was it the end of season 5 where she got, like, picked up on the Dothraki? And then, like... So it was the beginning of season 6 where she dropped her ring?
I'm so confused.
Well, watch
Okay,
it.
so season 5 got to the ending of book 3. Like, or 4.
Sons of the Harpy
like,
is the 4th episode in the 5th season of Game of Thrones.
I guess.
So, everyone...
44th episode overall.
Alright, I don't think we're recording
It
anymore, so I can
was
just, like,
the halfway
violently be
point.
like, what the fuck? Fuck Bran. Bran did fucking nothing.
And that's
He just,
the
like,
outro.
showed the fuck up and was like, hey, I got this wheelchair. It's like, I fucking rock. And it's like, no, dude, like, you can't even walk over rocks. Like, fuck, dude, like, really, Bran?
That's
Bran.
That's the outro.
Give it to the Onion Knight. Give it to anybody but Bran.
There it is.
Fermented crab. Like,
Alright guys, until next time.